Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and welcome to episode 22 of the month of metal. Today I'm painting this Warriors of Chaos Sorcerer, and I'm going to try a technique that I think I got from someone on YouTube, but I can't remember specifically. I'm pretty sure I didn't come up with it. So I zenithalled this miniature. First I primed him black, and then zenithalled him with a pale clamshell. And then I'm going in and highlighting with bold titanium white from Monument. Just going in and highlighting all the raised parts of this miniature. And then by using contrast on it, it will accentuate all those highlights. At least that's the idea. It didn't really seem to work as well as I hoped it would. I think my zenithal color needs to be a little bit darker, so there's more of a contrast between the main color and these highlights. But something to experiment with in the future. Regardless, I was still happy with how the miniature came out, and that's really all that matters. So as you can see here, he's all highlighted. And now I'm starting with some Blood Angels red here and painting his tunic, I guess you'd say. He's got a lot of armor on. He's also got a cape, which is a different color. So he doesn't have a ton of this red on him, but it is a main color of the front half of him, at least. So I wanted something that would pop. And kind of a classic Warriors of Chaos color is this sort of red leather or cloth. Then I used some Raging Sea, which is a speed paint from the Army Painter, and just base coated his cloak with this. I made sure to be very careful around the lining of his cloak, because I knew I was going to do that in a separate color, and I had already started to think that I wanted to do it a pretty light color, and so if I messed up with any of this, I would have to go back and paint back over it with white, wait for that to dry, then put the contrast on it. So I was just very careful around where the fabric of the cloak met the fur. Then I moved on to the armor, and like I said, he's got a lot of armor on him. For this, I used Hoplite Gold. It's also a speed paint. Probably one of my favorite speed paints. That and Aztec Gold are, yeah, just some of my favorite colors to use. They just work really well, and they give a really nice tone. Something that's kind of interesting about this model that you can see from this perspective here is that you can't see the blue on his cloak at all. And from the reverse side, you can't see the red at all. Typically, with main colors, I like to have them visible from no matter which direction you're looking at the miniature from. Just a personal preference of mine. But in this case, it isn't really possible. And so this miniature can appear very different depending on which side you're looking at him from. Then I moved on to the leather, and as with all of, or not all, but a lot of these classic Warriors of Chaos models, they've all got leather boots and leather gloves on over their armor. So I did all the leather here in snakebite leather, and that included his boots, his pouches, his tabard in the front, his gloves. So yeah, just basically everything that looks like it could be leather got this color applied to it. Then I moved on to the lining of his cloak, and I decided that I wanted to do cheetah print or leopard print or something as the fur on the inside of this. I'm not sure really why. I think just because this miniature is from the late 80s or early 90s, and they did some wacky stuff on their miniatures back then, and I figure what's wackier than cheetah print on this miniature. And I was pretty happy with how it came out, to be honest, for just, a two-step speed paint cheetah print. I was pretty happy with the end result. So then I think I actually failed to mention while I was describing the cheetah print in the previous step that that was Iron Jaws yellow that I base coated with. And now I'm coming in with some bootstrap brown from Army Painter and just painting in the spots. One of the hardest things for human beings in general to do is to randomize or to apply these dots in a random pattern, a truly random pattern. In a couple places, it kind of looks like a grid, which is not what I was going for. But for, from a paint job that mostly is going to be looked at from 3 feet away on the table, I think it'll be just fine. Then moving on to a couple details, I used some skeleton horde to paint the horns on the side of his helmet here. I then also used some of this color to base coat the scroll that he has attached to his belt. Then I got some Eldari Emerald and just painted all the gems with this. And I actually painted all the rivets on his armor in this color as well. Like he's decorated his armor very gaudily by putting a gemstone cap on every one of his rivets. I just thought that was fun. He's very clearly a little bit vain based on the materials and clothing he's wearing. So I figured this would be a fun little touch and just get a little bit more of this pop color on the miniature. Then I moved on to Broadsword Silver and just painted a bunch of little details with this. So the buckles here on the tabard, the decorative bits of his undergarments here, or under tunic, whatever it's called. I don't know what this dress looking thing is. Whatever this is, the details, I painted that in silver. And then I also painted the details up on his like scarf he's got attached to his staff in silver. But then when later I put another color over them and they didn't show up very well. So don't have to worry about that. But then there are a couple like little buckles and things here and there that I also painted with this silver. So then I went on to Luxion Purple and just base coated this sash in with this color. I thought that this purple would pop nicely with both the red on the front and the blue on the back. So that's why I went with it. But as you can see here, it completely covered over the silver details I had painted. So I came back later and reapplied that silver to get this sort of like Wizard's Apprentice style look. Then I took some Cygor Brown and just base coated the wood of the staff here. I also painted the handle of the sword in this color. Then, as you can see here, I took that Broadsword Silver again and repainted all these silver details on the purple scarf. Then I used some Black Templar to just paint the plume on his helmet. Then I took turquoise paint from the Army Painter and just highlighted the gems a little bit here towards the bottom of them. And then took a tiny dot of bold titanium white and just put it on the top of each gem. Then it was time for the final wash. For this, I used Targor Rage Shade, and I just put it all over the miniature, just to really dirty him up a little bit. This is one of my favorite washes, and I think it can go over pretty much any color without... it doesn't ruin metallic sheen of things, and it won't tint colors very much at all. So it's one of my favorites. And for these like overall miniature washes, I think it's just great. And with that, he was done. I didn't put this guy on a legitimate base because he's actually going to go on a chariot for my Warriors of Chaos army for the Old World. And that chariot is not even built yet. But so for now, he's just going to sit on this black base and wait for that chariot to get done. Hopefully soon. Thank you everybody for watching. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you tomorrow for the finale of the month of Metal.